Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars. SoundCartel. As if things weren't bad enough already, the world is in the midst of what's being described as an energy crisis. And with oil and coal prices soaring, the likely result is even higher fuel and power bills. But recent research has found about 16% of Australian small businesses are making matters worse for themselves. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. The numbers have been crunched, and it's been found that a large proportion of Australian small businesses are spending 30% more than they need to on their power bills. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, the ACCC, says that's because many business owners still have a standing offer with their power retailer, rather than being able to swap to a less expensive market offer. Businesses, particularly in New South Wales and southeast Queensland, could be saving hundreds of dollars a year. But, as ACCC Chairman Rod Sims told Jeff Waters, many are not making one simple call.
Yes, a standing offer is the default offer. It's what you get put on if you do nothing. As soon as you get in contact with an electricity retailer and accept a contract from them, then you're on a market offer. But if you just do nothing, if you just receive the electricity and get a bill without having activated any form of contract, then you're on the standing offer. It is just a default. It's the do-nothing offer.
And how much more expensive is a standing offer than a market offer, and why is it so?
It's about 25% more expensive on average. It's because the standing offer is a default offer, so obviously the person paying it has not looked around. There's no competition. Whereas for a market offer, once you've made the effort to get a market offer, they realise you might be looking at other market offers, they offer you a better price. So competition exists in the market offer. It doesn't exist with the standing default offer.
And that's why it's cheaper.
That is why it's cheaper, that's right. They realise they have to give you a good deal, otherwise you'll go to a competitor. But if you're on the default offer, you haven't bothered to look around, therefore there's no competition, you're their customer by default.
And just to clarify, you don't need to change retailers to change from a standing to a market offer, is that right?
That is correct. You can get, by a quick phone call, get a contract with your current electricity provider.
In your recent report for the end of 2020, what did you find about the proportion of small businesses on the more expensive standing offers?
We were surprised to find that 16% of small businesses across Australia are on standing offers. Usually they're small businesses that have slightly lower use, but there's about 90,000 of them, people still on the default offer and therefore paying too much for electricity.
Do you have any explanation as to why that figure of 16% is so high?
I think that small business people are extremely busy and they just don't have time, and they are businesses that don't use as much electricity as others. So they obviously focus on the costs because they're buying all sorts of things to run their business. It might be food in a catering business, coffee beans in a coffee shop, all sorts of things. And they focus on lowering the cost of that. But they don't seem to have time for lowering the cost of electricity, yet that's the easiest thing they can do.
How does that 16% figure compare to the situation for residential customers?
Residential customers, only about 7% of them are on the standing offer. So you've got a rate of about double small business consumers being on the standing offer versus residential consumers. So for every residential consumer, electricity is an important cost. Obviously for small business it's important, but they may have other things they want to focus on.
Are there regional variations?
Oh, enormous regional variations. In Victoria, for example, the percentage of small businesses on the standing offer is only about 11%, whereas it's double that in southeast Queensland and metropolitan New South Wales at 22 to 23%.
Why would that be so?
I think Victoria has a more aggressive market where electricity retailers may have made contact with small businesses to a greater extent than they have in Sydney or southeast Queensland, but I'm only guessing at that. It's very hard to know. Those are huge numbers, nearly a quarter of small business still on standing offers in southeast Queensland and metropolitan New South Wales.
So how much could the average small business save in their power costs by switching over?
We calculate that for those small businesses that are on the standing offer, they are lower use small businesses, but even at lower use, they could save $350 a year on average. Now, some will save more, some will save less, but on average, $350 a year.
So what's your advice to small business owners and managers who are listening today?
My advice, the simplest thing you can do is call up the people who are sending the bill, look at the bill, there'll be a phone number there or a web contact. Tell them that you think your electricity price is too high and you're thinking of switching. Before you do the switch, can they give you a better offer? But you are thinking of switching. You will get a better offer immediately from them as soon as you do that. One phone call and you could save yourself hundreds of dollars.
That was ACCC Chairman Rod Sims. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow at BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.